Hunters, in this video I will go over a new build that I branded as the ultimate comfy build with Insect Glaive. Insect Glaive can be a difficult weapon to master, especially with 10-star monsters shaving off most of your health in one hit. This video is aimed at people that want comfort over damage while still able to hunt 10-star monsters with reasonable times. For people that quickly go to the answer get good, that's not the answer for everyone I try to reach. Sometimes get good means a lot of hours in this game, which not a lot of people have. I just wanted to point that out. People that have watched my videos before, this is an updated version of my previous comfy build. If you get any value from my content, consider subscribing and help me reach that 1,000 subscribers. With that out of the way, let's go. I structured this build a bit differently than normal. I'll go over the skills first and I'll tell you why you have these skills in the build and then go over the armor I use. After that, I will give you my recommendations for all 10-star monsters, weapons, skin sets, adjustments you need to make, depending on the monster you're hunting. Let's go over the armor skills. Weakness exploit 5. As an Insect Glaive player, we will be popping wounds to get our extracts back, so having extra damage and affinity on wounds is a no-brainer. Agitator 3. Extra damage and affinity when monsters become enraged. It's active most of the time in 10-star hunts. We would like to have level 5, but I couldn't make it work in the build. Maximum Mind 3. Because Insect Glaive is grounded most of the time, having Maximum 3 gives us a boost in affinity. As we don't have many other sources that get our affinity up in this build, it's a must-have in my opinion. Resistances and survivability. You don't need resistances in every fight, but they do make a difference. In most cases you want to cap over 20 resistances in a hunt, for example to negate burn effects or bleed effects if you're fighting survivability, for example. In later section of this guide I will give my recommendations for jewels you can slot in for every 10-star monster. Evade extended level 3. Getting that extra dodge distance will help a lot, allowing you to get out of harm's way much easier. It also helps you with your backward vault, it gives you more distance, which can be useful at 80 arc belt or 80 new Udra, for example. Quick sheet level 3. The ability to put away your weapon quickly and eat or place a trap can be a lifesaver in a lot of cases, especially when you're still running monsters. Speed eating level 3. I find that speed eating is an underrated skill, but for new players it helps you to recover much faster and it can be the difference between a trip back to base camp or continuing the fight. As the game was updated, the monsters get faster and attack faster, so having that quick health recovery can save you. Evade window level 2. One of the reasons the build is like it is because of evade window level 2. Evade window level 2 combined with the Azure meal and the Grand Hub effectively gives you evade window level 5, as the tumbler buff gives you 3 additional levels of evade window. Evade window increases the time you're invulnerable during a dodge. This is massive for new players and making the overall field of the fight less punishing. However, while it's a good skill, I do encourage people not to rely on it too much and slowly to learn to play without evade window entirely, as it opens up other builds with more damage overall. But if you just want to be comfy, then this works wonders. Divine Blessing level 2, which you can increase to level 3 if you want. Negating damage when you get hit can be a difference between trip to base camp and surviving, especially against 10-star monsters. You can reach level 3 depending on the monster you fight by switching out one level 1 slot, but that's personal preference. Burst level 1. Mandatory on every Insect Glaive build to have burst level 1. Because we attack a lot is active most of the time and the damage boost is nice to have. Stamina Surge, we get this skill due to our armor pieces. It's not required, just a nice bonus in combination with maximum might. Set bonuses. We utilize the Lagiagros pieces for Azure Bolt for some extra damage. It's very consistent and nice bonus to our affinity and attack to help to keep our damage up. 3 gamma pieces gives us Lord Soul, which provides damage and survivability. With that, get out of jail free card and extra damage if you don't proc guts. The overall build equips you with a strong combination of mitigation and damage out. However, it does not allow you to stand there and simply take hits. It doesn't rely on any health recovery mechanics to just tank damage and avoid guarding. The build still requires you to play at your best, but allows you to guard up to 4 times before failing a hunt. With your Insurance Meal, Lord Soul and 2 normal cards. The aim of this build is to help player enjoy the game while learning the Insect Glaive, and I hope it does for many of you. Let's get into the build. So for the head we have the Arc Vulcan Helm Gamma. For the chest we have the Lagiagros Mill B. For the arms we have the Ray Sand Braces Gamma. For the waist we have the Lagiagros Coil B. And for the legs we have the Duna Wild Greaves Gamma. I'm using a historical talisman, but I will go further into that when we go over the decorations. For the mantle, we have the corrupted mantle, but you can also switch that out for the evasion mantle if you prefer that. When we're looking at the decorations, I'll start with the weapons. I don't go too far into that, but I normally use the critical jewel 3 and critical jewel 2 for critical boost level 5. And due to my talisman, which has airborne, I have the expert jewel level 3. It really depends on your RNG charm, which one you're using. If you have to do here flight expert, or you can use expert. The reason why I'm using expert here, because I have that airborne to push out a little bit more affinity in this build, because it's a bit lacking due to agitator level 3. Let's go into the armor decorations. So for my helmet, I've got the jumping jewel level 2 and shockproof. Shockproof you can change out if you're not playing multiplayer. But I mostly play multiplayer, so I have it in there. For the chest, I've got 2 evasion jewels and a gobbler jewel for an extra level of speed eating. For the arms, I'm using 2 challenger jewels for those levels of agitator. In my coil, I'm using 2 mighty jewels to maximize maximum might, and I've got a resistance jewel in there. So for the legs, I've got a chain jewel for that 1 level of burst. We always want 1 level of burst, and 2 more resistance jewels, but depending on the monster you're fighting, you can change that out. In my charm, I have the earplugs level 2 jewel, because I only have a level 2 decoration slot on this specific charm, but this really gets where there's a little bit of variety in the build, because it really depends on what kind of RNG charm you have. So let's go into my RNG charm I'm using. My historical charm is a rarity 6 talisman, which has airborne, 2 levels of divine blessing, and 2 levels of speed eating. So divine blessing and speed eating are really good skills to have, and that level of airborne. So it's more comfortable, it's more a comfy talisman than anything else. In my personal opinion, it's not hard to get something similar with airborne on that. There are different ways you can use it. So if I just look around and I'm just gonna use equipment slots and I'm gonna go for airborne, I already have a few for airborne. Now, this one is not good. This one is not good. Here I've got air boost and adrenaline. It's fine. So you should have something that is similar. So for instance, here I've got one with airborne and 2 levels of maximum might, and 1 level 2 slot and 1 slot. So this might be something you can change out. So it really depends on what kind of slots you're getting on that RNG. That's the only thing I cannot control with this build, but I'm confident you can find something that would work in this build overall. Now let's go over my recommended setup for every 10-star monster. Radar. Weapon I recommend Ice Element, and for the Insect, Foe Beetle. And for the low slots I would do 2 Thunder Resistances and 1 on-time Divine Blessing. Using the 2-time Thunder Resistance gives you a bit more damage reductions against the Thunder attacks, and Divine Blessing to save you against high damage attacks like the Wing Slam and Shock attacks. We choose the Foe Beetle in this case, as when you're doing your Rising Spiral Slash between his legs, you can go up and you can have all extracts back in one go. Radao has one of the better models to fight if you're Insect Glaive, and especially having that hard rest boost extract, getting all extracts, can be really useful to get all extracts back when doing a Rising Spiral Slash. Uth Duna. Weapon, Thunder, no surprises there. For the Insect I would do the Foe Beetle or the Whisper Vest, and for the low slot gems I would do Aquatic Mobility and an extra Divine Blessing. Using 2 gems of the Aquatic Mobility allows you to negate the waves Uth Duna creates, and an extra Divine Blessing saves you if you get hit by his weird hitboxes. If you're looking at the Insects, I either go for Foe Beetle or Whisper Vest, but normally I take Whisper Vest due to its speed, and also because Uth Duna has a small head, which is hard sometimes to hit, and if you use Foe Beetle, he has a little bit of a weird model, which if you're doing Rising Spiral Slash in the wrong spot, you cannot really get all the 3 extracts in one go, which you normally would want. So I think that Whisper Vesp in this find is a little bit better. The Udra weapon we use the water element, for the Insect, Foe Beetle, and for the resistances 3 times fire. With the Udra I go fire resistance all the way to make sure you don't get burned till you guard, while Divine Blessing is also an option. My personal opinion is most of his attacks that can guard you are easily dodgeable and advertised pretty well, which makes the extra level of Divine Blessing not needed in my opinion. I use the Foe Beetle here because if you are up in his face and you go up, you have a chance to get all 3 extracts in one go. However, Udra's model for the Insect Glaive is not always that useful. Jin Dahaad. So for the weapon, we're going to use fire, and for the Insect Whispervesp, and for the low slot gems, we use 3 escape jewels for the bind resistance. For Jin Dahaad, I go for the bind resistance just to make sure that I can stay close towards him and not get frostbite. I feel that ice resistance on him is a waste. I use Whispervesp, and this especially because Jin Dahaad has a really big model, and having the red extract out of his head while I normally stay at the back legs for a little bit more of safety. It really helps having a fast insect, getting that red extract from his head. Arc Belt. For the weapon element, I either go Dragon or Blast. For the insect, I go for Bow Beetle. And for the low slot gems, I go for 3 Steadfast Jewels to become immune to stun. If you don't have it and you get stunned, you card 90% of the time. Dragon or Blast is personal preference, but if you get Dragon Blighted, you do less damage with your Dragon element. That's why I also say use Blast if that is a really problem for you or you don't have Nullberries to cure the Dragon Blight. Zoh Shia just came out with a 10-star version. Weapon, Dragon, for the insect, Foe Beetle, and for the resistance, Fire. For Zoh Shia, fire resistance is the way to go. It helps you with his attacks to reduce damage and survive. If we're looking at the insect, I would go to the Foe Beetle. He has a very favorable model for the Insect Glaive, so getting all 3 extracts is very possible if you're doing your Rising Spiral Slash. Zoh Shia is also one of the models that's really helpful because it has a red extract in his head, but also in his tail, making getting extracts a little bit easier. I would wish they do that with other models as well, but sadly that's not the case. Gogmazios, weapon, fire for phase 1 and 2, dragon for phase 3, insect, Pseudocut, and resistance is fire. Gogmazios is the same as Zoh Shia. Fire resistance is the way to go to negate burn and to keep him offensive. You can switch out an extra level of Divine Blessing, but I feel that resistances are more important in this fight. If you're struggling with dodging the slams, Divine Blessing might be the option for you. For the insect, I do Pseudocut because you cannot knock Gogmazios down, so having that Sever insect and the speed of Pseudocut really helps you get your extracts quick, but also adding at the Sever stacks for his tail. Rompopolo. Weapon, we use the water element. And insect, I will go for the Foe Beetle. And for resistances, poison. The AoE poison of this new 10-star monster is a nightmare, so you need poison resistance. This will make sure you don't card out right away. For the insect Foe Beetle, it's easy just to go into him, do Rising Spiral Slash and getting most of your extracts back, so that's really helpful. Honorable mention, it's not 10-star, but Savage Omega, I need to talk about it. Weapon, Thunder, and you switch to fire for the Nasilla clone. Insect, Foe Beetle, and resistance is fire. Well, it's not 10-star, it's still one of the hardest finds in the game. Maybe still is the hardest. And I feel fire resistance is the best for this fight to survive some of his attacks. Insect is the Foe Beetle, as when you go a little bit more into the middle of his model and doing the Rising Spiral Slash, you have a good chance to getting all your X ranks back. His head, in my case, is most annoying to get, so that's why you need to move a little bit forward. And that's it. I hope this build and my recommendation for the 10-star monsters help you have a better time with the Insect Glaive during these challenges. This build combines survivability and damage as much as possible, it's fun to play and allows you to make mistakes without getting punished immediately and sent back from the card. What I personally like about this build, due to its setup, it allows you to learn the game by surviving fights. Later, when you feel more comfortable, you can switch to more damage focused builds that are a bit more unforgiving. Consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel for more Monster Hunter Wilds content. I regularly stream on Wednesday at 8 o'clock GMT+1, where I host an open lobby. It's a great place to hunt together, ask questions about the Insect Glaive or Monster Hunter Wilds, or just have a good time. Thank you for watching, and like always, stay sharp and happy hunting.